Guess how many wrestlers the WWE fired in 2021?
52.
More.
86.
157.
Less, much less than that.
86.
102.
All right, 64. Because you guys remember. Yo, what's up, everybody? Peep the math, peep the science. It's your boy, Big Cozy, Too Cozy. I'm here with my two colleagues, Relaxin' Jackson, a.k.a. Heel Jackson, with Saint Picasso himself, Saint.Kitch. What's up, guys? This is episode 82 of the Highly Advised Podcast. Let's rock and roll, lock and load, and let's go. Boom.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Like my co-host said, this is Spence, otherwise known as Saint Kitch, Pablo Picasso. I make all the things beautiful and everything beautiful art. So without any further ado, I'm doing great. This is episode 82, like you said, and it's a beautiful week. How about yourself, Nigel?
What's going on? This is Relaxing LG_Jackson. I'm chilling here with my amigos and compadres yet again. We are here, the magnificent trio, you know, doing everything we can to make the world a more positive place with our voices. I am doing good. I'm doing good. You know, chilling out. The Steelers won today. You know, well, actually, I'm sorry, we didn't win. We actually had a tie. So, you know, I guess that is what it is.
There's always one, at least every season. It's weird.
Yeah, man, I don't get it.
I wonder if there's like an odds you can like an odds maker you can bet on for that. Like how many ties or draws there'll be during the season. I'm quite sure there is. It's always weird. Like you said, it typically seems like almost every season now. So there's probably at least one.
Yeah, it's always at least one. I don't get it.
I think there's been another tie this season too, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't remember who got it. They're always weird games too. Like it's a lot of stuff happening. Like it seemed like both teams were doing everything they could to give it to the other. But you know, at the end of the day, there just couldn't be a winner.
They both were trying to lose, and they just couldn't.
Hard.
They both were trying to lose and just couldn't. Jeez, you know how crazy that is that you can't find a winner amongst losers. That's kind of crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I was watching something else, and there definitely was a winner.
Yeah, it looked close at one point too.
I agree with Spence. Go ahead, Nigel. Drum roll.
So
Boom.
This weekend, Max Holloway and Yair Rodriguez faced each other in the main event of the UFC Fight Night. Very close fight. Definitely gained a lot of respect for Yair Rodriguez in this fight for myself. I'm not gonna lie. As far as his fighting ability goes, like really smooth striking. Not only that, but he was game throughout the whole fight. He didn't just wither away in like the last seconds of the round or anything like that, or in the last rounds of the fight for that matter. I enjoyed it. Max Holloway definitely did win the fight, I think, but at the same point in time, you could tell that it wasn't just some easy in between fight between whatever he's going to next and, you know, whatever he's doing right now.
Yeah, the fight itself was really good. I think that Yair Rodriguez proved that no matter how long he'll take off, he's still going to be one of the best featherweights in the world. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be a future champion or anything, but he proved it by going 5 rounds with Max, even winning some rounds against Max, that, hey, I can hang in here with the best. So I thought it was a good fight. Yair showed a lot of great things with his striking. And he also showed that he's very crafty on the ground, and he's very crafty with his striking as well. I was very impressed with the fight, with Yair's section of the fight. I was impressed with Max too, because Max, you know, this was his first fight in a while as well. So I was impressed. I gave Max a fight. I scored it 3 rounds to 2 for him, but I could see how somebody would give him 4 rounds. It was an entertaining fight, great fight. And it's kind of cool because last week we just had Gaethje Shaler. So
yep, somebody saying on Twitter, like just really good fights back to back, you know.
Yeah, so shouts out both gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely shout outs to both gentlemen. But that kind of goes back to what we had spoke about like probably a few episodes back, where like the UFC now, especially since the pandemic, it seems like the level of competition within each fight for the most part the level of competition has risen itself. So ever since the pandemic, I would say, like, it seems like a lot more fights have been a lot more have been in competition for possibly a fight of the year performance, multiple fights this year. So in same fashion, Yair Rodriguez, I think he did a phenomenal job. He kept going even within the fifth round, where it seemed like, okay, I think probably about the second half of the fifth round was primarily on the ground. I think Max was controlling him for the most part, but even after that, he was still able to hop back up and just keep fighting. So I don't know. I think I was impressed with Yair. I did have him losing the fight though, 4-1. Okay. The second round was close, but to me, I felt like Max had did enough. The first round, I'm not mad at having Yair with the first round at all, because it was a great performance. I mean, we all knew what to expect coming into this with Max Holloway, especially after seeing some of what some may consider some of like the most premier striking we've seen in a while, especially from someone like him as well. So it was a great fight. I'm curious to see what comes next for both fighters, because like we both said, Yair, he did a great job. Just wasn't enough. I mean, it showed at least that he can go toe to toe and that he deserves to be in that top 5 space. Now, if he can get himself to a championship, I mean, that's only more to come over time. And as far as Max, I'm curious to see what comes with him next. Definitely knowing that he's fought for the belt twice and he's lost. So he's lost in his last 2 fights for the belt. So I know there was a jab that he did put out towards Conor McGregor, which I think would be interesting, especially knowing that they have some prior history. So,
well, I think if he fought Conor McGregor next, that would actually make a little bit of sense. And I wouldn't necessarily be against him fighting Conor. I actually would have him in that fight. But, I think that right now, Volkanovski, if they really want him to fight Henry Cejudo, then I guess they can do that. And they can have him fight Conor and actually give him some, something to do and give him some money at that,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think if you have Max and Conor fight each other, I think that can end up being like for one, I think that'd be great for Conor, because I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised just from seeing the striking that Max is doing right now. If the level of striking he's doing now if it ends up being superior to Conor, it's easily we can end up getting a trilogy, right? So I think for Conor that works out perfectly, and as well as for Max, you go for the fight. You've gone for the belt twice. You haven't been able to come back with the victory, and I don't think Max has anything he has to prove to anybody at this point, especially with the accolades on his resume. So I think him fighting Conor would be good for him, even financially. So.
Yeah, I think Dana White said that he wants Max to go fight Volkanovski for a third time, and he just doesn't want. He thinks that entertaining Conor is quote unquote silly in his own words. I'm thinking he already has plans for Conor, whether it's to gift him a title shot or get him another Poirier fight. But I think that screams like, hey, we already have a plan for Conor. But when he said Volkanovski, I thought that was interesting, because I was like, if you think about it, there's nobody else that Max really needs to beat that's at the top of the division, because he is the top of the division. I mean, Max could continue to fight down, but at that point, it's just like, hey, what are we doing here? Like, I think that Max has won more than one fight now. What's the point of him knocking off these potential contenders that could also get title shot in the future just to build it up? Plus, Volkanovski, outside of Henry Cejudo, right, if they even want to entertain that, like, he has no other legitimate contenders at the moment either. So I'm not wrong. If the trilogy happens, I'm not entirely upset at it.
Well, I mean, like, if the trilogy happens, like, it is what it is. But like I said, like, they have options as to what they want to do. I'm not sure what they exactly want to do with Conor. Maybe they see Conor being in these like one-off fights, like taken away from, like, essentially the athlete of Conor, how he might look in like the public eye. Because that fight would honestly mean nothing if he fought Max Holloway, because he's not going to go down the fight at featherweight, and Max Holloway is not really going to stick around at lightweight. It's like a one-off fight for fun. So, and that's if Conor is going to stick around at lightweight for that matter at that point too. So, I mean, I think while it does make sense if they're trying to go one direction, it doesn't seem like they're trying to go in that direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, fair enough. What your take?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that makes some sense. Like, I mean, if they were to do it, it would just be a one off in that case. And I mean, and like even like Lau was saying before, like I'm quite sure Dana has some type of idea what he wants to do with Conor. So if they were to do it, I think it would be an interesting fight from a fan perspective. But I mean, at this point, I think anybody fighting Conor is still a payday. And I think if Max were to try to fight Conor, he would just be cashing in on like those possibly some of those last few paydays that Conor may still have within him. So
keeping up with the MMA news, which also made its rounds as well, Jorge Masvidal pull out of his fight with Leon Edwards at UFC 269. Now, there's a bunch of conspiracy theories out there on why he's done it. Oh, maybe he's doing it to coach the Ultimate Fighter against Kobe, or he's ducking Leon because he knows it's not a fight that he could win, et cetera, et cetera. I'm a little disappointed because I would like to see Leon and Jorge get that fight done. But now that Jorge has removed himself from the fight, what do you guys think is next for him? And what do you guys think is next for Leon?
So there's a rumor going around that Jorge Masvidal pulled out of this fight so he can be in the Ultimate Fighter with Colby Covington. And recently they did announce that the next season of the Ultimate Fighter is, in production. So it's coming out soon. I think it would be hilarious if that was the case, because that's really kind of him just like scumbagging his way out of a fight with Leon Edwards and then getting into money with Colby Covington. So we'll see if that happens. But I mean, that's what it is. Like that would be a scumbag move. Like, you know what I mean? You have a fight set up in like a matter of a few weeks. You know what I mean? So I just think that'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that would be. But at the same time, I'm not surprised behind it just because of Colby. After his loss to Kamaru Usman, that was one of the first things he said was like, hey, let me fight Jorge Masvidal. He even told Masvidal, pull out of the fight if you want to. Pull out of the fight so we can fight in January or top of next year. Which, I mean, I think in terms of like there being a story there, yes, there's a story, but to pull out of the fight literally 3 weeks before just because yeah, it's like I mean, we all know it has to be for like something it's for a personal reason that's beneficial to him, not for money. Yeah, of course. And I mean, the way I'll put it like this, especially the way Colby Covington made it sound, right? Where he said, hey, Dana, this guy only has 2 or 3 fights left on his contract. And then you can get rid of him. At least let me get one of his last fights. So I feel like someone like Masvidal probably just said, yo, listen, I'm gonna just try to take the biggest payday and go about my business. But at the same time, it doesn't help because you're also ducking like some good competition, which from a fan's perspective is just upsetting. Because
I don't think he cares about that.
Of course he doesn't. If he cared, trust me, if he cared, he would fight still.
Yeah. Simply put, Spence. And honestly, it's just disappointing. Jorge, I understand that his biggest thing is like, hey, I want a fight that puts me next in line to the title. And I understand, like, hey, I'm going to go towards what's the easiest route for the biggest paydays, but also finagle my way to that title shot. But unfortunately for him, he would never sniff a title shot as long as Kamaru is the champion. Because 1, he doesn't fight. 2, he got beat by Kamaru twice, the second time being knocked out. And then 3, you got other guys now. You got Leon Edwards, 10-fight unbeaten streak. You have Gilbert Burns, who just rebounded from a loss. He's looking to get another win. Then you have other guys upcoming like Vicente Luque, Hamzat. So Jorge has not played a great game right now. And yeah, don't get me wrong. His name might be bigger than those guys I just mentioned, but he's not winning. And when you're not winning, you're not going to get those big paychecks and big paydays. You're not Nate Diaz, and you're definitely not Conor McGregor. You know, so
honestly, the person who really loses in this case is Leon Edwards, because he's been waiting for the title shot, and this was the last fight he really needed to cement himself to be like the contender. But now he essentially either has to wait for the fight to be set up or see what they do with Hamzat. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But people were talking about Hamzat not deserving it because they said he only fought one top 10 person, similar to Islam.
You're right. If you think about it. So for the listeners who may not know, what Nigel's referencing is Khabib this past week. He basically called out Justin Gaethje, saying like, hey, you lost 3 fights out of your last, I don't know, 8 fights, 9.
I think,
and he got
3 out of 9.
And he got finished, and you got finished in a blah, blah, blah. Islam 9 fight with streak on a row. So Gaethje rebounded back saying like, hey, I beat better competition. And then people came to Gaethje's defense saying like, hey, you're right. When you're fighting the best in the world, sometimes you will lose. He had a better path to the title. To me, if Gaethje gets the title shot, I won't be upset because there's nobody up there right now. But if Islam gets the title shot, I won't be upset because he beat 9 people in a row. So I just look at it as it's whatever Dana White thinks is going to be more marketable to promote, in my opinion.
It all depends on marketability, right? Where Dana figures out which one is going to make him the most, which can make him the most money. But at the same time, I think money is always going to be at the root of it. And then will probably come integrity in that case. And to me personally, I wouldn't be upset if Islam fought, but at the same time, I feel as though Gaethje has a good point, right? If I'm fighting stiffer competition, if the like I always bring up the example, and of course I use boxing for this, is Canelo, right? When he fought Floyd Mayweather, he was 40-0 when he fought Floyd Mayweather. And everybody said the biggest thing people were saying was like, oh, he's undefeated. He has a chance they're both fighting to see who can take that O off each other's record, blah, blah, blah. But then once you realize, once Canelo got in there with Floyd, it was a clear distinction between the talent level between the two. He literally outclassed him. And then it went on, eventually went on to look at who he had fought. And it was like like you always say, 40 jobbers for the most part, right? Like 40 jobbers and maybe 1 or 2, maybe 38 jobbers, and then 2 decent competition in comparison to someone like Gaethje. We're seeing where it's like, the stats were like, 1 out of his past 3 fights, 1 person was the title holder, another person became the interim title, and the other person lost for the belt. So it's like, when you have those type of stats, I'd much rather see him fight for the belt, just because we know what we're getting coming into that fight, especially after his performance with Chandler.
Yeah.
But I'm not too upset about it. I'm just hoping, the one thing I just hope is that the O on someone's record doesn't get over glorified, which I feel like Khabib is trying to do in this situation.
My thing is this, right? Like, I don't feel like he should really be talking trash about Gaethje for the sake of Islam. Like, I tapped you out, da 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 da. Like, and don't get me wrong, what he's saying is like, it's true. You know what I mean? Like, he's not lying. Yeah. But it's like, at the same point in time, I just find it to be funny for him to be talking the type of trash he's talking for the sake of Islam. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't feel like it's his place. It's weird.
He's trying to influence. Some people think it's not even Khabib saying it. Some people think Kobe calls him Ali a la sleazebag or some shit like that.
Yeah, he actually does have some funny nicknames here and there. I can't lie.
Yeah, Kobe?
Yeah, Kobe.
Yo, people are starting to like him, even in defeat.
Nah, man, because you want to know why? He got away from some of the stuff that was like kind of controversial. Like, on the low, like, he's funny, but it's like, hey, like, that controversial shit, you got to chill with that.
Yeah,
I don't think he got away from him, though. I think that because right now, the guy he's supporting in politics isn't on the front page news. So that's not something that he's going to do. I think what Kobe's doing is like old school pro wrestler thing. He's trying to keep it relevant to whatever is going on. So once 2024 hits and Kobe's still a top contender at welterweight, guaranteed the red hat is coming right back out.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. You notice at UFC 268 all fight week, he was doing New York PD, New York Fire Department. Like that's what he's doing. He's like adjusting to whatever the climate is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that also because the whole time he's like, yeah, I'm dedicating this to everybody that's out there fighting and saving the world, whether you're a firefighter, police officer, so on and so forth. So yeah, like I'll give him that. He makes the adjustment. He makes the proper adjustment because his whole thing, to me, I feel like he's trying to take on the moniker of like a Ric Flair type of character, where it's like, hey, I'm Ric Flair. No matter what, he's always been able to. He was timeless across generations. And it seems like that's what Kobe's trying to go for. And like you said, he may be good enough where he'll probably keep himself in that top five as a top contender over the course of a couple of years. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it. He needed the shtick to actually get him to the dance. So
my thing is, there's nothing wrong with being like, I'm here for people who support the country and da 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 da. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. The way he does it is just, why people are like, it catches people's eye because it's like, I support this unlike these people who don't care about A, B, and C. You know what I mean?
Yeah. True. But you know something, at least one thing he won't have to worry about moving forward, at least, is that because from what I'm hearing is that YouTube, they're removing the dislike button.
Boo.
So that's one thing Kobe won't have to worry about. It's the hills, the people that hate him will never be able to dislike any YouTube video.
That is toilet. That is toilet.
What was the point of it? Do you know?
I'm not quite sure. I believe it has something to do with. Well, go ahead, Lau.
I was going to say, and my bad for interrupting, but I was going to say it was supposed to stop dislike attacks. So here's an example. When a movie comes out, somebody will go on a website with reviews like Rotten Tomatoes, and they'll like review bomb it. So people might not even have watched the movie, but they'll go out and they just put negative comments just for the sake of negative comments because they don't like it. Kind of like what they did with that video game module, Last of Us 2, where they never played the game, but because of things that what's already been put out on the internet, they go out and be like, well, we fucking hate this. Let's just write a bad review.
Right.
So YouTube, they want to prevent that. So they're removing the number of dislikes happen because to help, it's kind of like a deterrent with, hey, if we remove the number of dislikes, maybe people will be more inclined to actually watch the video, see what it's about, instead of just clicking dislike. And I feel like that sucks because it bails out literally bad videos. Like people making bad content or the video it's just not a good video to show. Now you're bailing those people out. Like, for example, these fucking companies that like to scheme and scam, now you're bailing them out because nobody knows like if they're fucking shit, if people like this shit or not. But you know what's going to end up happening, right? They're going to end up removing the like numbers too, because people are going to stop liking this shit if they don't fuck.
Yeah, it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, your video got 0 likes, so people don't really fuck with it like that.
Yeah, and they're going to remove that.
I mean, you see what they're doing with an Instagram now already, where they've already like the like button's still there, but the amount of likes is no longer. You can't see it. You can set it up as a setting to remove the likes. So I can 1,000 people or 100 people can like the picture or video. No one to know. It'll just say blank like and liked and others liked it, and that's it. So I mean, it's not far fetched. I mean, I think in the sense of the example that Nigel used when it comes to like Rotten Tomatoes, right? Where people automatically target.
I said that.
Oh.
Yeah, you're tired. You're tired, bro.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to stay in Nigel's good graces.
Okay. That makes sense. All right.
So yeah, like I said, like Nigel was saying, right?
Yeah.
If it's targeted, like similar to Rotten Tomatoes, then we have to this will help deter some of it. And it kind of reminds, I'm not sure if you've seen the movie or not, but are the series on Netflix called Clickbait?
No, but I know what you're talking about. I'll scroll past it.
Yeah, I'll put it like this. This kind of reminds me of some aspect of the show to some extent. Not too critical of it, but it reminds me of some aspect of the show. But I will say this. I just started watching it. I definitely would suggest watching the show. I was hesitant for the longest.
I think it's dumb. I mean, like, I don't know. To me, when I see things like that, I feel like they're doing it essentially to take away from people leaving negative comments or, seeing the negative side of it. But I feel like there's always going to be a way to see the negative side. So it's like, to me, it always feels like a slippery slope because it's like, okay, you take away dislikes, then you take away likes, then you take away comments. And it's like, to me, I just feel like that's a shitty way to do things. But I mean, I guess we'll see as to how they do it.
I mean, it's my bad. Go ahead, Spence.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, no matter what happens, we'll all get used to it. The same happened with Netflix. Don't you remember with Amy Schumer when she put out that stand-up that did so horrible? People disliked it so much that they changed the way that your recommendations came.
Yeah, that was shitty too.
Yeah, she said like they should get it because I remember when Netflix had like a star rating or some shit like that before they had the thumbs up and thumbs down shit. That was down. Yeah, you're right. It's just the whole sensitive shit, bro. The shit is just, it's okay for somebody not to like your shit. Not to say there's a problem with people doing like review bombing and all that, but that's not society overall. It's just not. So I just think they should think of a better way to handle that instead of just removing it's stupid. It's just dumb.
I mean, like, it is definitely an issue, though, because, you do have things that come out and you have them review bombed, and it always looks kind of weird when you see it if you're a viewer who really goes off of, like, Rotten Tomatoes and shit like that. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I do think that they should find a way to deal with it. They might even find a way to deal with it before Squid Game Season 2 comes out, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got to figure out when that's even going to come out, though. They have signed off on a season 2 though, correct?
As far as I know, it's in production, and I know the creator was talking about having to write it and whatnot. So I guess he must have a team around him, and they're gonna get it done.
Yeah, I'm excited to see a season 2. Well, because I just want to see what happens now.
Yeah, same here. I think I'm curious to see what happens next, but also where things go. Like in terms of the show itself, because the show has multiple directions it can go, and we talked about some of them before. So
what's your prediction?
Somehow I wouldn't be surprised if the spoiler alert, in case anybody hasn't watched this show, anything after this is what he said. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the main character becomes like the front man. Like if he finds his way working within the system and becoming the front man by the end of it or something like that. Like to me, I don't know. I think it's going to be something to that aspect, or somehow he'll be involved, but he'll be involved in at the same time they'll be running the game, maybe in some other part of the world or something.
I have a question for y'all. I'm sorry, my bad.
What? Go ahead.
Okay, my bad. Yeah. Oh, well, my question is this, right? Like, do you think they're wrong for having the competition for everybody who stayed past like round 2? Because I mean, like at the end of the day, like they chose to come back to the competition. Do you think they're wrong necessarily for doing that? I mean, of course, they're having people die there, so it's wrong. But like, do you think they're wrong?
I think both parties are wrong. The competition itself is very inhumane. You're basically, hey, instead of, why do people have to die? You know what I'm saying? It could be a competition outside of that. I mean, hey, we'll have you guys compete in these games. If you lose, they're cool, blah, blah, you're eliminated. But instead, they have them die, like life and death. And I feel like that is inhumane. So yeah, they're wrong for that. But the people who are joining that competition, knowing this is life and death, they're wrong too. Because like you did it, like you guys already know what the fuck is going on. Nobody prevented you. You decide to come along. So they're both wrong the way I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more. I don't know. I think I do agree the game is inhumane, but at the same time, like it's that whole thing of like they knew what they were signing. The second time around, they volunteer. It was more of a volunteer basis, right? Where it's like, hey, to me, I don't think anybody was wrong at the end of it. Outside of like the game being wrong itself, yes, but outside of that, once you have that, once the person is making their own decision to come back, especially in this game, right, where when you look at the characters, these characters essentially living without trying to go for the money is practically a death sentence in its own right? So like, I'm not upset at them for going back because it's and their mentality probably was, hey, I'm dead out here as much as I am playing the game if I lose. So, I mean, the beauty of free will, quote unquote, is you get to make a choice, and they made the choice. So, luckily, this is all fictional. So
yeah.
Nobody's on an island killing hundreds of people at a time. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly, man. Exactly. But I know there was some other movies and stuff that came out. I know y'all. I didn't watch it, but I know y'all were talking about it. It was like Eternals or something like that.
Yeah, man. You gotta peek the science, man. Like you don't know about it.
I ain't do today's knowledge.
Yeah, you not only you gotta peep the science, but you gotta peep the math and you gotta peep the astrology, man. Because you right now you're like a caveman, you know what I mean? Like we gotta get you up to speed, you know, because you're really behind. You know what I'm saying? And it's all right because you know how you say like you're the measuring stick of the culture. Well, you're talking to the living embodiment of knowledge. So
You've been waiting all
that's a crazy nickname. That's a crazy nickname.
Yeah, he definitely heard that on the past episode. So yo, I got something for
Jesus, man.
The full embodiment of knowledge.
The living embodiment of knowledge. Fuck tribal chief. That's it.
Yo, what movie was that? It was a Book of Eli. That's the type of shit you remind me of, yo.
Nah, if you've seen the movie Eternals, they deal with these like celestial beings, literally called the Celestials, and they deal with the living embodiments of different things. So like knowledge, like or what's some other ones, Lau? Well, go ahead, my bad.
No, I was just saying. Oh,
okay.
Well, these things are basically all knowing, all seeing, blah blah blah. They create galaxies through the palm of their hands. They're
what?
They could summon you out of thought. You know, like they're very strong. And the movie is not only about the Celestials, it's about these things that they create to interfere in life, to be simple, called the Eternals. So the movie is about these group of people. They're actually Eternals, and then they're actually brought into the world, and they kind of shape humanity, and they kind of birth all the concepts that we know of, and they birth all the concepts that we know of through like conflict. So all the religions that you know of, well, that was from the Eternals. The way that people act and react with one another, that's from the Eternals. Technology as a whole, Eternals. Materials, Eternal. Blah blah blah. And it's just kind of crazy because I was telling Nigel, I was like, "Yo, the movie doesn't have a whole lot of action to it, but I thought the storytelling was good enough, and I was like, it carried the movie." But I was like, "Yo, this movie, what if this shit is real?" Where like not necessarily the superhero aspect of everything, but the fact that there's these all-knowing beings so beyond our comprehension that's shaping our fucking reality before we know it. I know this shit sounds conspiracy theory, alien, Area 69 or 41, whatever.
Right.
That's what I was about to get to.
but if you watch the movie, you would be like, yo, this shit is not far-fetched because, hey, we don't know anything we don't even know what's all in our galaxy. We don't.
We don't even know it's all in the water.
Yeah, you're right about that.
There you go.
Well, I mean, God knows in space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like watching this, once again, I'm not saying that, hey, this is accurate to the T because it is from Marvel Comics, but I'm like, we don't know what the fuck is out there. What if there is some all-knowing races that influence mankind in some shape throughout history? But we'll never know. But I think this movie is fantastic. I think it's a lot of world building. I know, Spence, you'll never see it, so I'm never going to waste my breath to say check it out. But listeners, listen to your tribal chief.
Listeners, well, spoiler alert, real quick.
Spoiler.
Well, I figured the spoilers already came.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, but to describe how strong this guy is, the Celestial, essentially they cross him, and the Celestial waits for a point in time. He reappears like in space, essentially like Galactus. Summons this girl up to outer space. And then says, hey, you crossed me. Now you have to face judgment, and disappears into a black hole.
What?
In an instant.
That's what happened. No, this is a movie that just came out.
No, it's not a cartoon, man. It's live action.
Yeah.
Where is this movie at?
On Disney Plus? Well, not yet. It's actually only in theaters right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But it will come to Disney Plus pretty soon then.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds like, to me, this sounds like the conspiracy theory that the aliens built the pyramids type of thing.
Well, look, right? So what Lau was saying isn't so far off from what theories of some people have. Like, there are theories that there are, I guess you would say, alien races that are just on another plane of thought, and they're essentially waiting for us to get there to communicate with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, but it's that. And then there's also like the thing of like that there's also another belief system that like a theory that the aliens once came here, the technology is so far advanced that they just picked up and left, and society is just kind of like repeating in a cycle to some extent.
Yeah. I read something the other day, and this would be my last take on the movie because we're going to move on. But I read something the other day where like there was some point in history where mankind had advanced technology, but a conflict happened where it was like a civil war amongst humans, where it just wiped out all of our technology and brought us back to like the Stone Age. And we're at this point. And I just think it's just interesting what people think of. And when you see this movie, well, I know you will never watch it, but
I might watch it.
Yeah, you damn well you're not gonna watch this movie.
I might watch it though.
Matter of fact, if it's Nigel, Spence comes down. Whenever he comes down, we gotta go see the movie.
All right.
Just like how we see Tenet, we gotta go see it.
I'm down.
All right.
Spence looks like he's sweating right now. He's like, damn, I don't want to do it.
Nah, because I had flashbacks when we went to see Wolverine. That's why.
Oh, that's a story for. Should we tell that story real quick?
Nah, let's tell it for another day.
Well, you know,
I see the movie, but I don't remember seeing it with you guys.
You remember what happened after the movie?
Oh, so it was with you, Spence. Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll that'd be a story for another time. But
yeah. So go ahead. Nigel, do you have any final thoughts before going into the next topic?
Nah, I don't have anything else to say about it. You know what I mean? Shouts out to Disney for putting that out, or Marvel, or whoever, I guess wants to stand behind that movie. I enjoyed it. I think if you like sci-fi shit, this movie is actually going to be really cool for you. If you're not into that type of thing, I can see it probably being boring, but to me, I find that to be interesting.
I probably like it then. I love sci-fi.
So.
Bro, you gotta stop. you never talk about no sci-fi
ever.
I grew up watching Sci-Fi Channel. What you mean?
Listen, we get it.
Avid lover, man. Avid lover.
Did you grow up watching The Rock?
a little bit of SmackDown, a little bit of jabronis. Know what I'm saying? And I remember when he transitioned into the Mummy.
Okay,
So,
he put out a movie recently, right?
I seen something about that on like I forget whatever streaming platform it was. I do remember seeing something about that. I didn't know what it was. I wasn't sure if it was a show or whatever it was, but it's Red Notice, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix, and it's actually, well, since yesterday of this recording, it was number one in the world on Netflix because it came out on the Friday. So I seen the movie. I don't know if you got, well, Spence, I know you didn't see it, but
Yes.
Did you see it?
Go finish it though.
Oh, okay.
Not just, did you see the movie?
I'm going to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so I won't say anything, just in case you know, for Spence, even though he won't watch it.
I love The Rock. I love sci-fi. It's the best of both worlds.
Well, anyway, the movie Red Notice. It's, you know, if you see Bar Rock movie, you probably see a good portion of it. It's not a bad movie. I had a good time watching it. I thought some parts were funny. Some parts to me were over the top. It definitely will be nominated for any awards. But if you're looking for a fun time, a time just to relax and maybe laugh at some moments, yeah, Red Notice is a cool movie. It's a good time. I'm not mad at the movie.
So my question is this, right? Like, do you think what type of role do you want to see The Rock in next? You know what I mean? Do you enjoy the sort of run that he's on? As long as he's keep on making these nice action movies, are you content?
I'm not mad at it. He's staying in his lane. He's making fun action movies. Sometimes he makes family movies. I know he's supposed to be playing Black Adam, which is going to be another action movie. So I'm not mad at it. If I had to ask, if I had to choose what I would like for The Rock to do, I would like to see him in like a serious movie, like maybe like a mobster type of movie where he plays the antagonist, maybe. You know, switch it up and not action, no action. Make it more about your acting. Now, I think for The Rock though, he's going to keep taking these type of movies because these are the movies that's paid him $20-30 million.
That's true. You're right
so
about that.
So why is he going to stop?
I mean, like, I actually, don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool. I think he's like our generation's like action hero. You know what I mean? Like the way we think about like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and all that and the multiple movies they ran. Like, I think we could think about The Rock being in like 10 action movies, even though they're all like similar in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter because he's just all over the place.
Yeah.
That's definitely a fact. That's definitely a fact. I'll definitely have to make sure I check it out though. Big fan of The Rock. Big fan of The Rock. Man.
You said I saw all that line.
I'm a count the episodes until you watch it and make sure that you actually do it too.
Yo, listen, man. You don't have to go through all that.
Okay. That, right? Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
I'm just to me, I'm just saying you don't have to go through all that. I don't want to put anybody through that trouble. But I mean, to each his own, bro. Like, did y'all see? Like, I know this wasn't something that we had, but did y'all see 50 Cent had posted where he's supposed to be in Expendables 4?
Yeah, I see that. It's gonna be interesting. For anybody, have you guys seen any of the Expendables movies?
I've seen clips of it.
So, if for people who love to crap over the Rock's movies, which me personally, I don't think they're that bad. Expendables is worse. We're talking about explosions, random action explosions. I just don't think I actually don't know what the hell's going on in Expendables. The only thing I do know is they have every action star from the fucking 90s in the movies. That's it.
I've never seen any of the movies.
They're not. I seen the first one. It had like Stone Cold in it, and I seen the one with Wesley Snipes. I don't know if that's the second or third one, but whatever one that had Wesley Snipes, I was just like, all right.
Nah, the one I know there's one they have with Sylvester Stallone in it also.
I think he's like in all of them.
Yeah. That might be the case because all I know when I seen whatever video was of it, I was just like, I think I was watching a workout video of him getting ready for the movie, and I was just like, "Yo, Slide, you're like 72."
Yeah, he's old.
You're like 7.
Stop.
Yeah, like, well, listen.
Rocky is old.
Yes. It's like 72. He's like 60 something, 70 something at this point. But hey, listen, man, someone's got to do it, right?
But you know who else is old and still making movies though? Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood is old.
Oh man, he's gonna croak over any day.
Yeah, and shouts out to him, legend. But man, he is old.
He's old.
Yep, definitely.
Like old.
Just made a movie this year.
Yes. Yep.
I think he directs all his movies at this point too.
Yeah. Like he's still doing it. I'm like, yo, I worry about you, man. Like you gotta chill out.
Hey man, listen, man, we'll say the same about Robert De Niro one day, probably.
Yeah, one day. That's fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Spence. I'll give you that.
You think we're gonna say the same thing about Kanye West?
It depends, man. It depends. Like, I mean, it depends. Will Kanye even become old? That's the question. Because the way he was talking in that Drink Champs interview, definitely on the part two, like it seems like he's doubling down on the on that whole thing.
I don't know. To me, when I was watching it, I liked what was going on, especially when they brought Larry Hoover Jr. on there and he was speaking about the situation. And I thought that was cool to actually hear more of his thoughts, like other than just the part that he had on the album. I thought it was cool I liked a lot of what Kanye West was saying. You know what I mean? Like it made a lot of sense, you know, like obviously, you know, Kanye is going to be Kanye, but at the same point in time, like if you listen to majority of what he's saying and see that as to what he's getting at, you would, I feel like you would understand at least where he's coming from.
Yeah, that's true. I know people are going to still paint him as the crazy guy. He needs to be in a white jacket in a bouncy house somewhere, but he is saying a lot of solid stuff. And I think the guy is so eccentric that at times it distracts people from what he's really saying, but he's not saying anything stupid. You don't have to agree with what he's saying, but it's all from like it's all from a real perspective. And I think of it of just like, hey, like he's not the only person that's thinking like this in our world, let alone in our country. So I just think that Kanye, the guy is a lot smarter than what the media and his detractors try to portray him as. And the only thing about the interview that I wasn't cool with, I felt like he kept cutting off Larry Hoover Jr. And I wanted to hear what Larry Hoover had to say. I did. I feel like Larry Hoover would get like 2 or 3 sentences out and Kanye intervened and went left field. And I'm kind of like, hey man, let him finish out what his thoughts. Like, because I guarantee you, after this interview's done, I'm not saying Larry Hoover won't get another interview. I'm pretty sure DJ Vlad will grab him or maybe Breakfast Club, but he isn't going to get the mainstream attention Kanye is getting. So like in that moment of time, I would like to hear what this guy had to say because he's probably going to be saying some important things and some interesting stuff. But hey man, I guess that's what happens when you're around Kanye.
Yeah, I mean, I did notice that also, as well as when they were discussing how they were building the lawyers, the lawyer team, and Kanye was just like, yeah, we didn't like the one lawyer, so we just got another one, and then Larry Hoover Jr. had to come in and say, whoa, we expanded the team. The initial lawyer, we had some differences, so we expanded the team. He's still one of the lawyers. Let's not get it confused. So like I definitely see you definitely could see where at moments, even watching the whole thing, where it's like, okay, I'd rather hear what Larry Hoover Jr. has to say, because there are moments where it's like, this isn't really perceived on the outside looking in. This isn't your place to say anything at this moment, because definitely when you know what this is all surrounded, what this all is circling around of getting someone out of prison, you got to be very careful with your words. And like you said, someone that's very eccentric, that's very off the cuff, you can't predict what Kanye's going to say. You can't tell Kanye's he's too powerful to just tell him to be quiet, right? So like,
yeah, absolutely.
So like, and even like we saw that even in the show where Nori was finding ways of segueing into like careful topics, safe topics. While
Right.
Kanye was like very radical and like, oh, they're gonna kill me after this. So like, I mean, there were moments. I thought it was a great interview, nonetheless. I wish Larry Hoover Jr. would have been able to speak more, but I do think this will probably start the beginning of his tour, essentially. If you want to find out any more information, they may end up having him on the Breakfast Club, Vlad, like you said, say cheese,
Right.
possibly even. So, I mean, I think hopefully it has more of a positive outcome than negative at the end of the day. But when it comes to Kanye, nonetheless, I mean, Kanye's Kanye, so I enjoyed watching it. I think there were certain parts where on the surface level, you can tell how people would just write him off as crazy because you at a surface level watching it, you're just like, this dude is just rambling and he makes no sense. Or I get what he's trying to say, but he sounds like a lunatic. Or you just realize Kanye just doesn't have the proper wording for whatever he's thinking. So I think it was a great interview. I think he was able to kind of piggyback on some of the points he had in the first part. So it was great. Hopefully we get to see more from Larry Hoover Jr. as well, though. Definitely.
Nah, I mean, the way I see it is like I thought it was all cool, like, to see them all together and talking and whatnot. Especially to see Kanye West say some of the stuff he was saying. I think it's interesting to see him speak on the prison system the way he is, because I feel like, it is something that does need to be improved. But at the same point in time, I feel like because of who Kanye West is, I feel like that people are going to take what he's saying. They already look at him as crazy. The unfortunate thing about the problem with the prison system is that a lot of people don't care because not everybody is affected by it. And not only that, people look at prisoners like they're lesser than and not as people. So I feel like while it can be a more serious issue, a lot of people don't care until they're actually affected by it.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
That's man. There's nothing else to say on top of that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true, man. Like, I mean, I say it like this. Like, I think the more that these type of conversations are being had, though, I think, especially when you have someone like a Kanye West or any type of prominent figure, quote unquote, I think it raises more awareness. Luckily, fortunately, it raised more awareness. I'm quite sure there's more people that are willing to invest their time, their energy into the whole thing with Larry Hoover now. Like, I'm not sure if y'all saw, but and this is just in terms of Kanye's impact. I'm not sure if you saw, like, I guess a couple weeks ago, or about a week ago, I guess Kanye West was spotted wearing like some mask or whatever, but it was like a human face type of mask. Well, apparently there were like a cult, I guess you can say like a cult following he had, or his followers.
I saw that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they all, and it was like a group of Kanye West fans that all dressed up in the same, either it was a Gap, Yeezy Gap jacket or a Balenciaga jacket with that same mask on. So just showing like someone having that type of, and people wanting to mimic someone like that, just cause. I'm quite sure Kanye putting himself right next to Larry Hoover Jr. is probably gonna will probably have hopefully a similar impact, I'll say, where his fans will want to actually follow more into this to some capacity.
I think it's interesting to see all of it go down, but I mean, like, it's interesting because I know some people are kind of trendy in the way they follow Kanye, and it's like, I understand, like, while like he's iconic in his own ways, like, I'm curious to see how much they will be willing to go as far as his efforts in getting Larry Hoover out of jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, know something? I think this will help, right? Because you know how him and Drake are supposed to perform on the 7th, right?
Right.
What he should do, because of all that has happened, all that has transpired between them two, especially through interviews, through tweets, I think he should have Soulja Boy open up for him.
Jesus, man.
He should have Soulja Boy open up for him and Drake when they do their show on the 7th.
He could squash their beef at the same time because, Soulja Boy wasn't so happy about getting left off of Donda.
Nah, no. Nah, he wasn't happy about that at all. I mean, Soulja Boy was not feeling that at all, especially when we watched in his interview on The Breakfast Club. I watched some of it. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to check it out either. But yeah, Soulja Boy having a Soulja Boy moment, showing off his new game system that he has. Something about Atari. Then he kind of goes off on Kanye West, telling him in terms of like being left off the record and how Kanye should have put him on the song, so on and so forth. But it was very entertaining. Did you guys get a chance to catch any of the Soulja Boy stuff?
I mean, yeah, I caught some of it, but to me, it was just like I wasn't really entertained by it because I just felt like, hey, we've seen this before. Are you coming out with new music? No. Okay. All right. So that's my take on the Soulja Boy thing. But shouts out to Big Gucci Soldier.
To me, I'm
not mad at that.
I don't really even think about Soulja Boy as like a musical artist in that way anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's definitely had success and whatever, but at the same point in time, like, I think we know him more for his antics than his music. You know what I mean? Like, have y'all listened to the last Soulja Boy mixtape or album?
No, but just move away from music then. Move away from being a rapper then.
I think that's where he's able to pivot from. I think that's the only reason why he brings himself to music, because granted, Soulja Boy does other stuff, quote unquote, allegedly, from what he says, but at the same time, I think most people don't. I think more often than not, people attach what Soulja Boy does based off what he does musically, or they attach his music career somehow to any success he has. Because I think when he had, anytime he's ever tweeted out, he's got like $1 million deals and $400 million here. People have always said, "Come on, yo, we know you don't have that type of money. You're not getting that." Nobody believes him to have that type of money. And then in these interviews, it sounds like it. So, I mean, I'm not upset with the Soulja Boy that we got. I think to me, to me, I look for it yearly. He's been doing this ever since like back then. And I mean, to me, I think the greatest era of Soulja Boy will always be the red beanie.
Oh, so. Jesus. No, that was definitely classic Soulja Boy. That was right after the Chris Brown beef, right? Or was it in the middle of the Chris Brown beef?
That was during the Chris Brown beef. He was out. And when he had the red beanie on, I think he was dissing Chris Brown. He was in Compton.
Jesus. To me, like, I think all of this is kind of funny. I don't know. Like, when Soulja Boy does this shit, it's just entertaining. Like you said, yearly, bi-yearly, like, Migos, blah, blah, blah. It's shit with Kanye West right now, the gaming system, which he says he owns, and somebody's trying to buy it off him for some odd amount of money. Like,
he says he's a partner with Atari.
Shouts out to him, man. I don't believe that, but I mean,
I don't either.
It is what it is. I think it's all entertaining, though.
It's funny, but my patience has run out to watch like the hour-long videos about. Like, I think it's funny for Instagram stuff. He hops on live and people post the clips of the live, or him posting the video. That stuff is funny and I could get behind it, especially when he's like really angry about stuff. But watching an hour and a half long interview of him just going on and on, it's kind of like, all right, man. So,
nah, I can understand that.
Yeah,
I can definitely understand. Go ahead.
Well, my thing is this, right? Like, if Soulja Boy were to be the opener on Playboy Carti's tour, would you go and see him, or would you just kind of leave it alone? Because apparently people are mad at Rico Nasty, so they're talking to Playboy Carti, trying to see if he could do something about his opener situation.
So why exactly are the fans upset with Rico Nasty?
Well, to answer Nigel's question, I would not go Soulja Boy.
I didn't even know we had to answer that. I thought that was
I thought the answer was yes for you, so I didn't really think the question is too much.
Nah, come on, man.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man. He's in in that group with Lil B, man.
I can understand why you assume that though, Nigel, because Spence, he got 150 shooters in Atlanta.
See,
just like
come on, man.
I do not play basketball. I do not play basketball.
So why are these people upset?
I mean, what do you mean by people?
I guess the people who are upset with Rico Nasty.
I don't know why maybe they're incels. I don't know.
Jesus.
What?
Oh my God.
They just threw a bottle at her on stage, and she didn't like it, and rightfully so. And she came down and confronted whoever did it. And I just see that people are like, oh, Playboy Carti need to speak up. It's his show. He needs to control his fans. I'm like, I see this new trend of happening of people are recounting on artists to control these people on the shows. Like, no.
I think it's kind of ridiculous because like I saw some person was in front of Travis Scott's house and they're like, hey, you got 8 people killed. I'm like, yo, you guys got to relax, man. Like, think about the situation and what's going on. Not only that, especially for Rico Nasty, if people were throwing bottles at her, like a lot of people say she shouldn't jump in the crowd and blah, blah, blah. And, understandably so. But you got to understand somebody threw a bottle at her. So she reacted. You know what I mean? So I feel like it kind of is what it is. I just think that people blaming the artist for these situations is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like, what does Playboy Carti have to do with that one standalone person or group of people that's attacking? Like, that's like, and I'm going to put it related to this. Remember when The Matrix first came out and it was so revolutionary? Everybody was fucking with it. Oh my God, this changed movies. Bullet time, blah, blah, blah. Well, do you guys remember some incident where a guy dressed up in a black trench coat?
Columbine.
And he put, that was that incident.
Yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken, it was Columbine when all that was going down.
And he was influenced by The Matrix?
Yeah. That's what they were saying. They said he was influenced by a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll put it like this. That's not their fault. That's not Keanu Reeves' fault. That's not Lawrence Fishburne's fault. Like, hey, this is the entertainment. Like, we're coming out with a movie. We're trying to tell a story, Kind of like Playboy Carti. Hey, my music is for you to have a good time at my shows for whatever space that you like to go into. But, I'm not telling you to throw bottles of shit on stage to the people that's opening up for my show, let alone to any artist. So I feel like you can't pin that to him. I don't think Travis Scott was advocating for people to get killed and ran over on his show either because of his music. So like, I feel like people have to slow down with it. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Travis, like he did the right thing, but like apologizing for his actions. But at the same time, I look at it as kind of like, hey, what do you expect these artists to do? People are not going to listen if they don't want to listen. And I just feel like it's going to come to a point where somebody's going to come in and they're going to regulate how shows work now. And that's going to fuck up concerts.
I mean, I would hope not, but at the same point in time, like that's what I think about too. And it only takes one person to do some dumb shit, and then we all have to essentially suffer from it. You know what I mean? It doesn't take but 1 or 2 bad incidents for something to change forever.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. That's very true. I mean, I think I do agree where an artist like Playboy Carti shouldn't be penalized for whatever happened while Rico Nasty was on stage, just because even if let's say he had that much control over his fans, at the end of the day, he's behind stage getting himself. He may not even be at the venue yet, or he may have just gotten to the venue. So like, it's not up to him he has no control over the fans. And then on top of it, we have to keep in mind that Rico Nasty, the type of music she makes, and I'm not saying it's her fault, but what I'm saying is that the type of music she makes like punk rock type of music. And it's like a rap punk rock type of style. So we have to keep that in mind also, where maybe this interaction could have happened just from based off her set, whether it could have been someone not liking the music, whatever the case may be. But you shouldn't penalize. I agree. You shouldn't penalize the artist for something that the fan does when they have no say. They have no say in it. Now, if an art like even like the Travis Scott situation, we saw there's even after that the whole thing happened, we're seeing clips now with that where you're seeing Travis Scott is stopping the show so that someone can come that so medical attention can come to certain fans that were passing out or possibly some of the fans that could have been possibly dying during that time. So yeah, so I think it's one of those things where there's nothing that we can really like trip off of in terms of the artist. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to or not, but lately, and granted, we've all had shared our opinions about DJ Akademiks before, right?
Right.
But I'm not sure if y'all have noticed this, but DJ Akademiks, this guy DJ Akademiks has been going hard at Freddie Gibbs for the past year. But recently, in the past like couple of weeks, I've seen where he's going on his Twitch and it's like, yo, Freddie, pretty much trying to say Freddie Gibbs isn't the rapper he portrays himself to be by saying, yo, your dad's a cop. You grew up in a 2-parent household. The people around you were getting in trouble. You got people around you hurt, and then you had to stop being in the streets and all this stuff. And Freddie Gibbs is responding back to it. Have you guys had a chance to catch any of this stuff? Because this might be one of the most hilarious rapper media personality beefs we've seen in a while.
I caught a few tweets going through Twitter. The way I look at it, it's like, okay, I thought these guys were over that shit, but apparently not. I'll put it like this. I like Freddie Gibbs' music, so I'm going to listen to his music continuing. When I listen to Freddie Gibbs, I don't think of him like as some other rappers were kind of like, oh, this thing is like, ooh, this guy, he's really super street, super good. Super. Right. I just think like, oh man, he makes fantastic music. But and DJ Akademiks, I really don't agree with a lot how he carries himself. But I'm not mad at what he does because it's his livelihood and he made a space for it. He's actually influenced other people to do the same as well. Like for example, shouts out to him, but what's his name? Soulja the Gangster.
Oh man, yeah, man. You don't know about him. I'm sure you don't, but I mean, like, he's this dude on YouTube, and he's always spitting game, man. Like you gotta listen to what he's saying.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out.
He's talking about all the street stuff, all the rap stuff, music industry stuff.
Oh gosh,
yeah, but so I'm not mad at Akademiks for that. The thing I disagree with Freddie Gibbs about it, like when he was trolling Akademiks, like saying like, he's gonna smack him because he's all fat and all that. That's cool, whatever. Like joking on him. But when he was like, oh, I could have pulled up on you, smoked you, and da da da. And I'm kind of like, yo, man, I didn't realize that the beef was that deep. And two, and two, in my opinion, you don't get G points on smoking a guy like Akademiks. Like Akademiks is not some ultra tough 4-star general street dude. You know what I mean? He's a guy who's a social media persona, who happens to be a popular persona, and he's worked with some other people that has access to talk to some artists and all that. He's not like this guy where he's choreographing and coordinating what's going on in the streets. Like, so you coming out saying that, I'm kind of like, yo, relax, bro. It's not that deep. So I think the beef is it's taking a weird turn, in my opinion. Now he's telling people at the shows, make sure you scream F Akademiks. And I'm just like, all right, man. It was funny at first, but now it's kind of like, yo, you mustn't really despise this dude.
It's something at this point. It's something to go through all of that. Plus, on top of it, like, I mean, when you look at Akademiks, right? It's to me, it reminds me of like Jim Jones when he made when he dissed Jay-Z. He was like, "Yo, if Jay-Z doesn't respond, I have nothing to lose. If he responds to it, I have everything to gain from it. And I think in the same fashion where it's like when Freddie Gibbs is doing this, he doesn't have anything to lose from it, right? But at the same time, the question becomes, what are you trying to gain from it? Because Akademiks like you said, isn't someone you get brownie points from. And Akademiks at this point, we've seen it where him and Meek Mill have created a truce with one another, where he eventually, I'm not sure if he has or not, but like he's going as far as saying like, yo, let me just fight you then. Like he's called out rappers before at this point, just because of that. And I mean, either things get handled or I don't know how that whole situation gets handled after that. But I mean, to me, I don't think there's any brownie point. You don't get any cool points for this at this point. Like you just got to let it go.
I mean, like, I feel like they might as well just fight. That's the way I see it. Like, why don't they have like a celebrity boxing match at this point and just get it over with? Like, to me, I just feel like it is promotion for Freddie Gibbs, I guess, for DJ Akademiks to be talking about him. But it's like at the same point in time, like y'all said, like, I don't really care about anything that they said or even him telling people on stage to cheer against him or anything like that. But when you're talking about, smoking him or whatever, I just find that to be, it's like, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean? That's not necessary. So like, to me, that's where I think it's kind of odd for them to be talking about each other.
Yeah. And Freddie was like, hey man, I want to punch him out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, I mean, I didn't know you guys hate each other that much, but punching him out, all right, it's a man-to-man thing. But when you talk about you want to shoot the dude and you want to chop him down to size and make him into bacon, then I'm like, well, okay. Like, I didn't realize it was that serious, and that's kind of crazy. Like,
but see, I think the thing that's interesting to me though is that, like, because when you have something like that, where you have someone like Freddie Gibbs, like you're saying, being that invested in Akademiks for whatever reason, and you see where Akademiks, like when I believe he came out and said like what his belief as to where this all comes from, he was just like, yo, when other people were pretty much, in his mind, he feels that Freddie Gibbs is just, he found an easy target of someone to pick with compared to it being someone that's, like you said, like you don't get any points for it being Akademiks. But at the same time, everybody knows who Akademiks is versus if he was to do this to like someone like a Yo Gotti, a Gucci Man. Oh, right. Oh yeah. Now if that's how you want to do it, you'll be heralded. This at that point, it makes sense. But when it's Akademiks is like, hey, we know what you're doing this for. And I think Akademiks also understands that, okay, this guy's coming at me for the attention. Which, hey, you might sell an album that might help, but in the long run, I mean, I hate to say it, he'll probably need Akademiks before Akademiks needs him, just because he has his finger on media so much.
I mean, I don't think Freddie needs Akademiks, but Akademiks doesn't need a Freddie neither. So I just think that Akademiks is doing Freddie a solid by mentioning him because his fan base is a bunch of young, sticking to ass kids. And they will be like, well, who's this Freddie Gibbs guy at Akademiks bumming? And maybe some of them will be enlightened and be like, wow, this guy makes good music. Or some of them will be like, oh, this is old head shit. Who knows? But either way, they're going to check him out to see what the fuss is about. But I don't think neither of them really need each other.
Well, I'm not saying, I don't think they need each other, but what I'm saying is in the long term of just both of them, based on Akademiks being who he is within media and Freddie Gibbs being just I hate to say it in this case, just a rapper at this point. At some points, the guy that controls the media, who's, to me, Akademiks doesn't look like he's taken a step off or he's fell off by any means.
Right.
Like I can see him becoming a bigger power player within the media game down the line at some point. So what I'm saying is someone like Freddie Gibbs, you just got to be mindful of the bridges that you burn, never knowing who these people may become. Like someone like Akademiks is never far-fetched that he could become the cover of something at some point. Who knows? But I mean if it's,
I feel like if you don't like somebody, you should stand on your 10 toes about it.
Right.
The only thing I disagree with is you don't need to kill the dude or announce that you were planning to kill the dude. That's just a little extreme. But if you don't like the dude and you're like, hey, I would smack him, or like, hey, I just think this guy is toxic to me, that's fair. That's okay. Right. But I mean, for Freddie, if Akademiks becomes the face of Revolt TV or the face of Complex, if he ever returns to that, then if I was Freddie, like, I still don't fucking like you, and I don't care. But you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing it from your perspective.
Well, I think outside of that, they both have their own lanes that they kind of sit in. You know what I mean? So no matter what, I think they'll always kind of be separate to a certain degree. It seems like the only time we really talk about them like crossing paths is when they get into these random fights on Twitter and social media and whatnot. So like, I just take it as like when they do get into these little spats or whatever, it's just them getting into these things, and whatever it means at the time is what it means at the time. The first time it was because I think he mentioned him. This time, I'm not even sure how it started. You know what I mean? I just know that they're going back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just look at it as just like, hey, these two don't like each other. Probably shouldn't put them in the same room for each other, right, with each other. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. Did you guys have a chance to see where they have announced that Bone Thugs and Harmony will be going against 3-6 Mafia in a Verzuz?
Yeah, I did, actually. I'm pretty excited about it.
What date is that?
Oh, you're watching that one.
Yeah, I am. I want to check it out. I want to see the washing that 3-6 Mafia is going to do.
I thought you were going to say you wanted to see the Juice Man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll see the Juice Man. I mean, he kind of carries that group on his back, but
December 2nd.
Oh,
there
really?
You go. That's when the washing commences.
So we'll have Bone Thugs and 3-6 on the 2nd, and Drake and Kanye on the 7th.
That should be interesting.
It's gonna be a crazy week.
Who do you guys choose between Bone Thugs and 3-6?
3-6, of course. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, of course, you know, people Bone Thugs have earned the respect, you know, that they have, but at the same point in time, I feel like 3-6 Mafia is just 3-6 Mafia. They've been around for a long time. And if we're talking about Juicy J and like considering his stuff solo, then I think, you know, he'll be all right.
Yeah, I would go with 3-6 as well. Just pretty much very similar opinions. They've been around much longer in terms of as a group, and as well they have the achievements, and even looking through over the past 10 years, especially today, you can see where their influence is just that much more, I feel like, in the music game. So
100%, man. I was just going to say that there so many influences, so many production samples. You know, they've probably written for some rappers in the past. So I'm just saying, like, they're overall the more accomplished group with hits, themes, whatever. I mean, don't get me wrong, both Thugs Harmony, they had some good songs. You know, Meet You at the Crossroads, First of the Month, Thuggish Ruggish Bone. You know,
iconic joints.
Buddha Lovers. It's now 3-6 Mafia they're gonna win.
Yeah, definitely when we're talking 20 songs.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 3-6 Mafia, like they outside of like, you know, the Stay Fly era of 3-6, they had stuff before that, and not even Sipping on Scissor either. Like, you know what I mean? Like they had stuff before that. So it's like I think the span of time that they've been able to put out hits is longer. And I think also some of the hits were bigger. You know what I mean? Now, if you're talking about like the biggest of big Bone Thug hits, then I guess that's debatable, but you know.
But I mean, the biggest of big Bone Thug hits will only probably last for like what, 5 songs, maybe 7 if you really want to stretch it. And I mean, if you're a diehard Bone Thugs fan, you're gonna know every fucking song. But if you're talking about to the casual audience, like I said, it's about five solid songs that everybody should know from them. I'll give you an extra 2, but we're talking about 20, man. And 3-6 Mafia, and when I notice these versus battles, they don't only have to play their music, which is already a lot. They could play the music that they had a hand in. So, and that's massively a lot. I don't know if Both Thugs Harmony had a lot of hand in music like they did.
Nah, and even and you also have to keep in mind that they get to use samples. So like if definitely when you're looking at someone like 3-6 and where we have samples from ranging from someone like a Drake to ASAP to just that whole
Stallion.
Meg the Stallion. I think Migos at some point. Migos,
Katy Perry. Did Both Thugs already have a Katy Perry? So it's a wash.
Yeah, I think they're gonna handedly beat them. You know what I mean?
That's a wash, man. I just, I'm not gonna say that they're gonna win 20-0, but it won't even be a contest. To me, it'll be a lot more like Soulja Boy and Bow Wow. We're like, hey, people, we know these Soulja Boy songs, but Bow Wow overall is just gonna win. Right. So it's just that's what it's like. Like, I don't even think it's a contest for real, but I understand where some people who are not as musically inclined, they're gonna think that Both Thugs have a chance.
So, like, were you about to say something, Spence?
No.
So for me, right, I know that a song that came out that kind of had a different take on something that came out a long time ago, being Smooth Criminal. Polo G kind of came out with that single, and I know we all listened to it. I kind of listened to it a little bit, not the full song. And I didn't think it was all that bad. I was surprised. I, don't really like a lot of Polo G's music, if I'm being honest, but that song, I think it was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right.
Go ahead, Spence, because I know you're about to rave about it.
Nah, not rave about it. I mean, I think it was a good song. I'm serious. I think it was a good song. Polo G, I think definitely when it comes to like renditions of songs, this might be a better one that's been done, especially from a rapper. Just because, I mean, just like we had spoke about this off camera. Heck, like you look at someone, it's hard to reenact something that's Michael Jackson related, and you look at the weekend when he did Dirty.
Did you say it was a good re-edition of Smooth Criminal? Like this is a good remake of the song? Or are you just saying like for him this is a solid song?
It's a good rendition of the song based on when I compare it to what people typically do. When I was trying to finish the statement I had, when people, bro. So you're telling me, so you would disagree with what I'm trying to say? Where if you're disagreeing with this point that I'm trying to say, that people have made renditions of Michael Jackson music and it does not sound good. Because they don't musically, they cannot sound as good as Michael Jackson.
Give me example. Give me example.
Dirty Diana by The Weeknd.
So you're comparing one of the biggest artists in the world who's 9 for 10 because you just said that Dirty Diana wasn't good, right? That's what you're implying. You're saying Polo G Smooth Criminal lives up to Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal.
I never said that.
No. Okay, you never said it, but that's
you're trying to imply. No,
that's how it comes off.
How does it come across? How does it come acros like that? Because you're cutting me off before I can get my thought out.
Okay, fair enough. But what I'm saying is this: you just said compared to other artists that try to do stuff, this is actually good. If you were like, yo, this is just a good Polo G song, this is solid. I thought the sample was dope. Because that's what people because that's what people say majority of the time. You took it to another level saying like, yo, he did Michael Jackson justice. He's gonna come back from the grave.
Bro, I never said that. I literally just said you got it, man. Oh man, listen, man. If you think Polo G and Michael Jackson sound that much equivalent, you got it, man. If that's what you think I'm trying to say, you got it.
Oh man. So did y'all hear the first song out for Rick Ross's new album where he's dressed like Queen Elizabeth according to a lot of Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they're calling it now?
Yeah, they're saying I heard somebody say he better be rapping like Queen Elizabeth, where he had his hands up like this.
Now he's peeking.
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear that one. Because I before it was the running gimmick was he's pretty much what AKAs look like. Especially when they coming out. But no, I mean I think I like the song. I think it was a good Raw song. To me, it sounds just like any other Raw song I've heard over the past 10 years.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a good way.
Okay.
To me, it sounds like it's the same quality. It doesn't sound like he's missed a step or anything like that. So, I mean, it has me anticipating the project. Hopefully, I'm hoping that I get more Black Dollar from this, if anything, but I highly doubt that.
It was solid, yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet, so I actually don't know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually don't really listen to Rick Ross's stuff like a lot of people do.
That's actually interesting because I thought your favorite album by him was Hood Billionaire.
No, it's not. It's not.
Hey man, you should check it out. I would suggest checking it out. Ross, to me, I'm a fan of most Ross projects. So I would definitely check it out. More than likely, I'm hoping that he's on the album, which more than likely is Drake, just because I know they do really great. To me, I think they do great music together, as well as I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that joint project comes out at some point between the two of them.
What do you think it's going to be called?
I don't even know. That's a hard one because I feel like the subject matter is the subject matter is going to be a certain level.
Lemon Pepper in Toronto.
Jesus.
I'm just saying. Wake stop at 6 a.m.
Jesus, man. It's definitely gonna have some type of time in it. You already know that.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Drake. Shouts out to Ross.
Hey man, yeah. I'll listen to Rick Ross's shit for sure and take care. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, well, heck, once this episode comes out, it's already passed. But Monday on the 15th, Take Care, Drake's second studio album, will turn 10 years old. It'll be his 10-year anniversary, man.
Hey man, that's a clue bomb drop moment.
Nah, it definitely is, man.
That's outside.
We say it. That's a clue bomb. We safe them, man.
I don't even have anything to say.
No shelter, no nothing, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to work on that one.
It's like drop a clue.
Yeah. Sound like it fizzled out.
Nothing happened.
It's like when you watch a movie and it's like they're trying to disconnect the bomb and they just make it right before it goes off, but they just connect the bomb. It's like we're good.
That's what Nigel just did, man.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean, well, you already beat me to it. Go for it.
Do we have anything else for the listeners?
For the Take Care anniversary, I do want to say, I personally think it's Drake's best album out of all his albums. I could see why somebody else would say something different, and that's okay. I'm not going to fight you over that because I don't give a shit. But for Drake, that was. But for Drake, that's what set him over the moon. That album did it. Shouts out to The Weeknd, but that album set him over the moon, and good for him. And that's all I have to say about the Take Care 10-year anniversary. Shouts out to the legend. Shouts out to LeBron. Nigel doesn't like that.
No, I thought Spencer had something to say. I was waiting for him.
Nah, the shout outs to LeBron part just threw me off.
I mean, he's the LeBron of the rap game. He's the best today, but he has a lot of haters.
Nah, that's true. That is very true.
Look, do you agree with that, Nigel? He's the best today. You're laughing. You're laughing, but do you believe in your heart he's the best today?
Do I believe that Drake's the best today? I believe that a lot of people believe he is.
No,
do I think so personally?
In your heart,
I think he's the most successful rapper today. Yeah.
No, answer the question. Do you believe in your heart that he's the best today?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yo, it's like Polo G.
But I know why a lot of people. I know why a lot of people expect him to be as such. I get it.
All right. So who's your best? Who's your best? And I know it won't be nothing crazy like Lil B. So
no. I think I don't know, man. That's tough. Like, I would like to say Kendrick, but he hasn't dropped in a bit. But I know once he drops, it's going to be a big deal, and the album's going to be great. So, like, to me, I think Kendrick has been his track record is very hard to keep up with. You know what I mean? He might have 3 classics. You know what I mean? Like, just straight back to back. So, like,
okay, I'm not mad at it. A lot of people thought Kevin Durant was number 1 in the world until he lost to Giannis in the East Finals. So I ain't mad at it.
Who's the rap game Giannis?
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know.
I'm not mad at him being Kevin Durant either.
Who? Kendrick?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's we would have to deep dive into.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, who's the rap game Giannis?
Oh Jesus! All right, yeah.
I mean, some people will probably say like Lil Baby or Lil Durk.
I could see Lil Durk being the rap game, to be honest.
So
over Baby?
I was gonna say
I put Lil Baby over Durk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lil Baby is like Lil Baby's at a different level. I think the success Durk is having now is just starting to take off like this year.
So he's rap game John Morant.
No, John. I mean, shouts out to John, but John, he's not. He's not winning a championship anytime soon. It looks like Lil Durk. He's in a running to win something good. So you could say, hey, maybe I don't know what players to compare him to, but you could say he's having a standout year so far. Maybe you could say he's like
it's a Paul George back, like when Paul George had finally went off when he was on the Pacers, man.
Maybe you could say he's like Paul George, yeah, when he's going off, or you could say, maybe he's like Lonzo Ball. He's finally played well,
Well, do you guys got anything else? Anything to say before we get up out of here?
Nah, I don't have anything else to say.
Hey, I just want to say thank you, listeners, for listening to us nonstop. Make sure you do follow us at the Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram. Follow us at Advised Highly on Twitter. And please, please, please subscribe to us at our YouTube, the Highly Advised Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share our stuff. Tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your pops, tell your abuelas. Just let everybody know. Follow the Highly Advised Podcast. Fuck with us. Make sure you follow me, Big Cozy Too Cozy, aka the living embodiment of knowledge, and make sure
he practiced that, man. I'm telling you.
And shouts out to my colleagues, aka the co-host, aka the Stooges, Spence, and I'm just joking, guys. Go ahead. We're kind of like the elite.
Yeah, we are kind of like the elite.
Yeah. Who's the Japanese dude?
Spence.
Wow.
It's Spence. I don't know who I am though.
I don't even know what the elite are.
One day, matter of fact, we might show you when they come down.
They had a good match on, but we'll get to that, I guess, at another time. But
yeah,
you can follow me at relaxingLG_Jackson. Of course, we always have a good time doing this. Spence.
Yeah, follow me at the Highly Advised Podcast on Instagram, Advise Highly on Twitter. If you want to see my face, go check it out on Instagram, on YouTube, which is called the Highly Advised Podcast.
So no personal.
Nah, no personal. No personal. Right. The only personal is the personal, and the personal is the Highly Advised podcast. That's the only. If you want to see, come and see the Highly Advised podcast.
Listeners, we will see you next week. You've been highly advised.
You've been highly advised. Rusty Shackelford.
Yo, what's going on, listeners? So a late edition before we finished recording, we saw that Donda, the deluxe edition, was released, and apparently there are 6 new songs added or just different mixes and vocals on the album. Guys, what do you make of this?
Shouts out to Life of the Party. I'm just happy that we finally can possess the song and listen to it.
Yeah, and I can tell by that that means you're more that just shows you that pretty much reinforces that we're all here for Andre 3000 on this song. Yeah, because Kanye has definitely changed his verse. The verse that because the initial verse that he had was dissing Drake and talking about Kid Cudi and on GD and all of this stuff. This time it's different subject matter, so that's different. But all in all, I'm not upset. I can't complain. I mean, granted, it was already like a 2-hour album. So, I'm not going to trip with having where we get to have a few more songs from Kanye West, 1. And then on top of it, I haven't had a chance to listen to the song yet, but Keep My Spirit Alive Part 2 is featuring Westside Gunn, Conway, and Casey. So I'm always going to be a fan of that, to listen to anything that's a Westside Gunn song, anything that has Griselda, anything Griselda related. So you already know. So that Up the Ashes, of course, and yeah. So I can't trip. I think I'm excited. I'm excited to listen to these next 5 songs. I think this is probably a good move, especially with him and Drake allegedly doing a show in the next couple of weeks. So
hey, I'm interested to listen to the songs. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's cool that it came out. I got something to listen to at work or on the way to work tomorrow. So shouts out to Kanye.
Facts. Yeah, we got to have a conversation one day about this whole thing with Kanye having a school. Because when he was talking about the whole school, and granted, I know we need to get out of here, but when he was talking about the whole thing with his school, right, it really made me think about, like, I wonder if Dr. Umar is watching this interview and what his reaction would be.
Hey, man, they're both trying to get their schools up at the same time, but I'm sure that Kanye West is going to have a little bit more success.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I would like to see them interact with one another.
Yes.
That would be very, very internet breaking, at least for the Black community.
Yeah. No, that would definitely be interesting.
It definitely would.
So, yeah, listeners, we just came back. We saw that, and that was a last minute thing. You've been highly advised, or I'm sorry, you guys have anything else to say to the listeners?
Listen to the Kanye album. Tell us what your thoughts are on these additional 6 songs, as well as the updated song with him and Tyler, the Creator. And yeah, that's all I got.
You've been highly advised. We will see you next week.
You've been highly advised.